So, clean glass, clean jigger. Where's my jigger? Okay, number 23, I think this is now. So, this one was in the collection that was given to me to try and sell, and also purloin some miniatures from to start the challenge off. And rooting in amongst them was this one, which is Special Reserve Prince of Wales single malt Welsh whisky, which intrigued me because when I was working at the whisky shop, we started selling one called Penderyn, which was apparently the first Welsh single malt in donkey's years. So I've been doing a bit of research on this, and it turns out that way back in the day, sort of AD 94 or something like that, monks in Wales were distilling a spirit that was very similar to whisky, and was a Welsh version of whisky that the name was. It was like Whisky or something like that. But they used to make the spirit and then filter it through herbs, so it was more like a not quite Jägermeister, but the herbs were sort of adding flavour and things like that. Apparently in 1974 there was a guy called David Gittings who owned a farmhouse and was in a museum somewhere near Brecon, and spotted this very old bottle and didn't realise that there was Welsh whisky around, because this was from about the 1800s. So he decided that he was going to try and emulate the old style of Welsh whisky, which was essentially making whisky and then filtering it through. So in the late 70s, so he started in 74, in 76 he released his first one, and then in 1986 he then did this Prince of Wales brand that basically got him into a lot of trouble with the Scotch Whisky Association, because the legislation and the rules of selling whisky pretty much worldwide, with the exception of sort of the Middle East, is that you can't add anything to it. You can't, apart from caramel for colouring, you can't filter it through anything, you can't add anything into it. And obviously if you're filtering it through herbs to affect the flavour, then you basically you can't call it whisky. So he was kind of battling them and ended up doing a different range where he was doing a blended whisky that he said was Scotch malt and Welsh grain whisky, but at the time there wasn't any distilleries existing in Wales, so it was like, well, where are you getting this Welsh grain whisky from? And it turned out it was Scotch whisky as well. So it was a blend of Scotch malt and Scotch whisky, which is technically Scotch, not Welsh, obviously. And he also had this, which was the Welsh single malt, which apparently is Scotch single malt, which is then brought over to Wales and filtered through various herbs in order to try and emulate the flavour of how they made it. So it's not Welsh single malt at all, and it's technically not whisky. So in 1991, he got hit with a lawsuit by the Scotch Whisky Association. I think they also got done for tax fraud, and basically the whole thing fell like a house of cards. So, according to one blog I read, this is one of the rarest whiskies in the world, which I find very hard to believe. So I probably shouldn't be opening it, I probably should be selling it, but I'm very intrigued to see what it's like, because apparently it is a Scotch single malt that has been filtered through some kind of herb mix of parsley and wort and all sorts of stuff. I couldn't even find a list of where it is, so really weird on the nose, like not very pleasant at all. Kind of off. A bit pooey even. 40% alcohol. Yeah, this is really odd smell. Not particularly pleasant, not harsh, it's just kind of a slightly farmyardy. I mean, it was probably made in a farmyard, but it's almost like the smells of the manure and everything outside are seeping through. Yeah, I didn't think I was recording there for a minute. Oh dear. Well, I've got to do it. It's not as bad. And no, wait. No, it's not as bad as it is on the nose, but it's weird. There's some really weird flavours in there. There's like a slightly menthol, slightly vegetal, slightly woody, but like pine, sort of pine furniture smell to it, and taste kind of like hits you in the mouth, like you're breathing in through your mouth. Pine furniture. There's not a lot on the finish, but it's just a really weird set of flavours that don't work. They all clash together. Yeah, this is probably one of the worst whiskies I've ever had in my life. It's horrible. The little one's kicking off as well. Yes, make no effort to find this. It is not pleasant whatsoever. And it is a bad advert for Welsh whiskey, because Penderyn is really, really good. If you can find Penderyn, and if I can find it to do it for the challenge, I will do, because it's excellent. But this, Prince of Wales, if you find this in a collection or in a shop or in somebody's loft, bin it, chuck it away, sell it if some other idiot wants it. But yeah, not pleasant at all. Oh well. Right, well, that's them out. I'll pick a better one for next time. See you next time.